Good afternoon and welcome to Healers Enlightened Network. And this is webinar 136. And we are so honored this afternoon. If you remember, she was so beautifully telling us and showing us how we could do reflexology long distance. It was a very eye-awakening experience, and how we could send other things long distance. So that was very beautiful. And today she's here to put us in a drum circle for we can find our guide animals. But before we start, let's let go of the tension and the stress we have today. So I want us to take in a deep breath, and we're going to call in the angels, and we're going to ask them to encompass us, and then just let our shoulders drop. We're going to call in our guides and allow them to be here to protect us. And we're going to call in the divine. And he says, just let it go. Just let it relax. Okay, I want you to just take another deep breath. Allow Mother Earth to come up through your feet chakras, up through your root chakra, solar, your sacral, your heart, your throat chakra, up through your third eye. Remember, you've got your ear and your tongue chakras in there, and up through your crown chakra, and just let it flow down, out, and around you. This white, gold, and purple, green. Oh, he's given us all kinds of colors here. It's very beautiful. Just allow that to protect and run over you, and allow your vibration just to come into peace, into harmony. Breathe that in. And for anybody that's going to watch this, allow this to just be breathed in. Just keep breathing, and allow yourself just to relax and ready to encompass the knowledge that Wendy has for us today. And when you're ready, just smile and come back to the room. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. That's lovely. So yes, it's Wendy Watson, and it's a real honor to be back with you and this lovely group and energy. So yeah, it's great. So I'm happy to jump in and talk about the drums, and then we can actually drum. So
That's wonderful.
Okay, so in my room next to me before I start working, I've got a candle lit. I'm sure you've probably got something similar. And I've got some sage in my smudge bowl. And you guys are probably more familiar with sage out in the States than we are here. But so I'm just going to light some just to bring us all into the space, as you've already done for us so beautifully. And my daughter's just bringing me a glass of water, so that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Alice. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. So the spiritual sage helps us to come to this space, this time, and this place. And it also just helps to clear any negative energies that may be hanging around, the stresses of the day, getting here on time, internet connection, let's hope it keeps going. So we just thank the spirit of sage for helping us. Okay, so we'll just leave that, and it can burn away as it feels. So drumming. So I, as I said earlier, I was born in South Africa, and obviously hearing the African djembe drums has always been part of my life. And it wasn't until I moved to the UK that I really recognized I missed it. And I was already working as a healer, and I was at a London Body, Mind and Soul fair.
Okay, we'll just have to splice and rice. See, it's coming down really hard. I'm sorry. Mother Nature.
All right. We'll go with it. So the shaman was playing his African drums, and he was, working with the spirits. And I stood there and just had this download and remembrance of who I am and who I was, and these memories flooding. I used to work with a shaman, but also many lifetimes of doing this work. And I stood in this crowded room just crying with joy. And it was just so beautiful and almost another awakening. So that's when I embarked. This is probably 8 or 10 years ago. That's when I embarked on my shamanic training journey. So I did some work with the African, found, although I loved it, the animals and medicines and the plants in the UK. It's people living in the UK trying to teach another culture,
Right.
and it wasn't really. And then finally, I did 3 years of a shamanic Celtic training, and that's kind of really sitting with me. But to be honest, there's a lot of crossovers with it all. So for me, it's all one and the same. And for me, drumming is all about that heartbeat. You know, when we're in the womb, this is the first sound that we hear. It's the sound of our mother's heartbeat. And so when we hear the drum, that brings us back to our heart, brings us back to our heartbeat. And of course, I can sit here with 10 pages of information of benefits of drumming. So, you know, it lowers your blood pressure, nervous system. There's lots and lots of health benefits.
No
Yeah,
idea that it would do that.
There's lots of healing benefits to it. And obviously you've got the sound healing, which one of your members mentioned earlier, how beneficial sound healing is. So that's really important. And then also on top of that, when you're sitting in a drum circle, what's so beautiful is the drum is a circle, and it helps bring us into circle. It brings us into unity. I think during this period of uncertainty that the whole world has gone through in the last couple of years, I feel it's so important now more than ever to bring community back, bring the circle back home, and let us reconnect. And for me, that drum is so important in doing that. And what I've witnessed time and time again, you get a group of people coming together. They might be shy, they might not know each other, they might have learning differences, they might have different esteem differences. I've done it for corporate, so you've got like the CEO to the cleaner, and so everybody's coming with like a different vibe, and by the end of it, everybody is together, they're gelling, they're talking, you suddenly connected and united, and this is the power of the drum.
That is beautiful. So I didn't realize that corporations and other people incorporate this in their, so it's quite large of a community. I mean, you were the first time when you mentioned it, when you first came, was the first time I'd even heard of it.
Wow. Yeah, well, I suppose, I mean, the drum originally, it's the first form of communication. So if you think back to cavemen, they were drumming. First of all in the fetus, you hear in the drum, and then, cavemen, they would drum. And also, they would be out hunting and what will have you. They'd come back and they would tell their stories around the drum and the fire.
Right.
And so this is regulating the autonomic nervous system. So you're talking about it, you're sharing about it, and therefore the problem isn't really a problem anymore. So that's the beauty of it. And I think also nowadays in corporate world, and it's not a world I like to get too mixed up with. I love my little bubble of, unicorns. But the corporate world is becoming much more heart-centered. Heart-centered leadership is quite on trend, which is wonderful. And so they're open as a team building exercise, drum, because you don't have to do anything. the drum does it for you.
That is beautiful.
My angel said, I had actually a guy from the UK, a drummer. That's now a client of mine, and I reached out to him for drumming, and he said he was going to set up my personal frequency, what helps me, and then he said, ask your angels. And the most interesting thing, my angel said, humans get off frequency due to time and space, and that's where that started. And when you think back to what you were saying, cave people before language, spoken language, I mean, that's a long time ago. So that makes sense.
It really does.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we always get the frequency we need. So sometimes I might hear things that other people think sound beautiful, and to me I'm going, oh, that's a bit like squeaky. But then others will find it beautiful. So you get what you need, you always. So I wanted to just check if anybody had any questions. So we go through like a bit of the theory stuff, and then we'll just get on and we'll have a round of drumming and see how we get on, really.
So does it bring you into a trance then, Wendy, or how do you, well, you're going to show us, I understand this, but is there a whole group that we can join if we're interested in joining and doing this all the time? And
so I'm sure in the UK, I don't know about where you are, but I'm sure if you look on the internet, there should be drum groups because they're around the world. And bear in mind, a lot of the skills, the way in which I made my drums, they were passed down, and they were the two people who trained me had been given permission from some of the Native American tribes in order to pass on this craft, because otherwise you're kind of stealing somebody else's indigenous stuff, aren't you? So so we're not nicking people's things or culture or any of that. We're not trying to pretend to be somebody that we're not. So, we don't want to offend anybody, put it that way. So, but there should always be drum circles near where you are. I know there's loads in our area. I run one monthly. Obviously during lockdown, I couldn't. And for me, it's not the same online.
I bet not.
You don't get the same vibration, and everybody's got a different, it doesn't come right together because of the delay. But it's better than nothing. And but yeah, so I'm coming back as of next month back into in-person on drumming. There's always groups close to you, whether that's with the African drumming or the shamanic drumming. And as I said, I do the taiko, the Japanese drumming locally as well. So I'm quite blessed, really.
Yes.
But definitely have a look. I know somebody in the UK, Jonathan Weeks. He runs an online drum circle, and that's international. So look him up, and you'll be able to drum with him.
Jonathan
and he also
Weeks. Okay.
Do you know
what's the difference between the different types of drumming? Are they all the same? Do they all mean the same, or do they all have different meanings?
Yeah. So basically, the shamanic drum and drumming is normally frame drum like this, and it's strung together, made in ceremony, and it's normally a simple beat.
Okay.
In order, I mean, you can just mess around with it,
That's fun.
But if you're drumming for the trance work, in order to journey, and I'll explain a journey before we do one, that's at fast beat, and it's normally about 150 beats a minute 157 beats a minute.
Okay.
It's quite fast, and that helps to take you into theta or a trance-like state.
Oh, okay. Okay. 150 beats a
There
minute.
is a whole lot of neuroscience behind that will explain that to you.
Okay.
And you're welcome to look that up. For me, I just know that it is. You know, you get to a point in your life, you just know, you don't question anymore.
Right. Right.
You know what feels right.
Right.
Then in terms of the other drumming, so of course there's always energy involved. So the African drumming, same thing. So theirs is through their hands, and they're using both hands. So and they are using much more complex rhythms, and more songs. I'm going to call them songs or rhythms. So I think you have to be a little bit more skilled for that. So
Okay.
hence I said, you know, I'm not a great musician. I came into drumming through the shamanic drumming, and that anybody can do that. So
Okay.
that's just a 1 1 1 1 1 1 beat. Anybody can do that.
Okay.
Whereas African drumming is a little bit more difficult, and the taika drumming, that takes a lot more skill and uses test your memory and your body to the limit. So that's much more sort of like a martial arts type of drumming,
Okay.
and with complex songs and rhythms as well. So
Okay. It's so interesting. I think it's the more we learn and the more that we open up, that there's other things that can stimulate what our bodies need. And it can actually, these frequencies and these vibrations can actually bring wellness within our bodies.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. I know after taika drum session, although my body's, you know, feels like I've been in a gym for a month, and we've measured it in an hour, we do 7,500 steps in an hour.
Wow.
That's taika drumming. So it's quite energetic. But yeah, the next day my brain is totally, you know, frazzled, but I'm on fire for the whole week. My energy levels are just through the roof, and you know, you're so happy and elevated, and it always forms community. So I just love drumming. And if you haven't got a drum with your feet on the earth. You know, I'm a reflexologist. I love feet. So, you know, use your feet to connect to the earth and drum bare feet on the earth. And it's beautiful, beautiful technique.
Yes.
Yeah, and calling to those ancestors with your feet. Love it.
Yes. Yes. I've never even thought of that. We do that, you know, without even thinking about it. We sit there with
Of
our
course.
shoes off, tapping in the grass with the music
Yes.
on. We don't even realize that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It's wonderful, isn't it? I apologize. I've got messages coming up making a noise. So
Oh
I'm
no,
going to
I
say
don't hear
now.
anything.
Oh, good. Because I'm going to say if we drum and that's going to irritate you, you need to just
Oh no,
like
you're
meditation,
fine.
think past it. So,
You're fine.
oh, that's wonderful. So I feel I would love to guide you through a drum journey,
That would be
and
beautiful.
I'm going to just explain to you. So when we do a drum journey, we always drum with intention. So you know, we're mindful when we drum, because really we honoring the ancestors and the angels. So or the earth and the sky. So we set our intentions, and today we've decided we are going to go and work with our animal guides. And so that would be the intention for this drum journey this evening. Now, normally, if we're in a drum circle, we'll drum together. But I would invite you to like a guided meditation. I'll guide you through so that you can drum, so you can journey rather. So I suggest we do 2 of them. And the first one, I will guide you through it with the drum in the background. And then we'll come around and have a little think about it in a chat. And then the next time you then know what to do.
Okay.
And I will just drum. And then if we have time, We can all have a bit of a bang on our tins or our knee or the earth beneath you. So
Oh,
how does that
beautiful.
sound?
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. So I'm not sure if it makes it any easier, but I think if you put yourself on mute, it might make the delay less.
It may, yes.
And I will talk you through a journey. So I just want to check that you can all hear this. Yeah? Okay. So with the drum journeys, what happens is I'm going to start off with a 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's going to start getting faster and faster, louder, 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 and then we'll go to a constant rhythm. And while you're in that constant rhythm, you'll be in your journey. Now, when I first start off, the way we normally work is you're going to go to a tree, and in your tree, in the trunk of the tree, you're going to see maybe a doorway. You're going to go in the door and you're going to go straight down into the roots. And in the bottom, in the hollow of these roots, there's a beautiful womb-like space. And in that space, your guides will be waiting. Sometimes you might not hear or see them, but be assured that they are there. Our intention this evening is to go meet our animal guide or guides. And so an animal may appear while you're sitting in this womb-like cave and take you off into the mountains or into the sky, or just come and sit with you, or whatever happens, and that's okay. And then you'll be in this journey for a little while, and then suddenly I'm going to stop the drum beat, and then you're going to hear 4 loud bangs. That's a recall warning to say, okay, this is your time is up. So at that point, you will thank your guide or guides, and you will start returning to the womb of the cave. And then again, it's going to get faster, 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 faster. That's you. You've got to get back up those stairs, up, 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 out through the door, back into this space, this time, this place now. And the drum will stop. So hopefully you all understand that. And I can see you just called admin down the bottom there that you are all comfy and you set with your blanket, which is wonderful. So I invite you just to get yourself comfortable now. As I'm going to start drumming you through the journey. So you're welcome to lie down or sit, keep your feet flat on the earth if you are sitting. Nice deep breath in. Setting your intention to go meet your animal guides. Making your way to the tree. Taking a nice deep breath in and out. Just making sure that you're back to this space, feeling the earth beneath your feet. Having a nice little stretch. And then just, you can unmute if you want to, and just take a moment to think about what you experienced. And then when you're ready, if you want to, share what you experienced.
That was amazing. I'm still tingling.
Great.
But what I saw, and I don't know if this is even fathomable, but I saw a bear, a hawk, and an owl.
Okay.
Now
So,
that's kind of strange.
No, not really.
no, yeah, not
powerful.
really. Yeah.
Those are
So,
very powerful animals.
I've got a couple of, I mean, there's so many different interpretations, but for me, bear is all about protection. Bear is normally showing in the north on the medicine wheel as well. Bear is about the winter months, and mother bear is so nurturing. So bear for me, the key word is nurture. And so, and when I say nurture, I always remind people, particular healers, to nurture themselves also, instead of just your cubs. But yeah, let's just have a look and see what I can get with. I've got a little book here called Animal Teachings. It's a really nice book. I've also got 2 sets of medicine cards with me, and I'll just show you them so you can, if you want to, go and have a look at them, borrow them, or whatever. We've got that one.
Okay.
Animal messages, a set of oracle cards, and I also have that one, medicine cards, which is more linking to the Native American kind of vibe, if you like. So I'm happy to talk about or read any specific ones if you want them. You said it, did you say eagle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So for me again, that's eagle is air working with spirit. And then owl, you know the story of the wise owl.
Yeah.
Bring in its medicine as well to the circle. Let's just see if there's another word that's come up here with bear, so dreaming, dream time, which may be something that you need to think about.
Not
just looking if
sleeping.
any other, not sleeping, just dreaming. And yeah, owl is the wisdom. Yeah, 146. We'll just see what that one says quickly. Bear with me.
I feel those spirits come to me at home.
Yeah.
The bear, the eagle, the owl, also intuition, and the bear's courage to move forward with your business.
With business. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Owl, the keywords on this interpretation is swift, seeing clearly, knowing the truth, and wisdom. Yeah. So wonderful. And as I say, like each deck will come with its own bit of interpretation, I guess.
Okay.
So, but it's for you to understand what their messages are, not for me.
Right.
Yeah. So just link in with them. And the best way to really understand animal medicine really is to observe. So, you know, obviously I can't watch bears in nature. we don't really have any in this country. You guys do.
Yeah, in my backyard.
Wonderful.
I
In
don't
some
have
respects.
barrister, not like you guys do.
Yeah. So so to observe them and see what they're there to teach you. When I go, I mean, the best I can get is a wildlife park, but every time I go, the animals will have a themed message for me. So they may all just start drinking water today, and I'll be thinking, oh, that's interesting. Or they may all be, you know, making nesting. And you think, oh, okay, you know, time to winter time, buckle down, or you know, or they'll all be eating something green. That's interesting. So
Yeah.
it's just simple observation is really where you start to learn the animal messages that they bring
Okay.
in today.
Okay.
So yeah, hopefully that helps. Does anybody else want to share what you found or what you experienced or how the drum made you feel, or go on?
Oh, okay. I do a lot of drumming. The first one that came, and I resonate with wood. I work with a lot of birch.
Okay.
So my inside of my tree was really cool. First of all, it was the sleek wood that I work with, driftwood, and I use that for my healing too. First one that came was, I see grasshopper a lot, but this grasshopper had some red on its head. And I was like, really?
Okay.
Because I've never seen the grasshopper with red. A little bit, he sort of had he had a mask of red, is really how I want to think of it. You guys can maybe decipher that. I know it has meaning, but he had the red and sort of up on top in his shadows were red.
Yeah.
And I've been going through a lot of things lately, so I have a feeling it has something to do with that, but I don't know what.
Okay. So, I mean, I can give my interpretation if you want it, but
that's great. I would.
It's all about your interpretation, which is more important than mine. I always say that to people because you have your own wisdom, and I love you to tap into that. But according to this book, the grasshopper falls under the chapter of personal power. Yeah, so looking for, wanting to reconnect to your own personal power, and allowing the power to flow freely. It's linking into your intuition, and the grasshopper teaches you that by trusting your perceptions and utilizing your inner power, you can leap forward with great distance or great distances with ease. Now, for me, the interpretation of this eyes is so important, right? So the red, again, personal power, where we get grounding, and the root chakra, that personal power coming into that. But in Africa, the grasshoppers look like that. That's what they look like.
Really?
So
I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's cool.
and the shaman in Africa, they wear different color bands. I guess some of the Native American tribes will as well. Yeah, you've seen them with their face painted, like red here. Or like so depending on what level of training you've had with the African shaman or some of the Native American tribes, they will have different paint color bands on their eyes. And I think this is something to do with what you're experiencing, which is why you've got such a strong message.
That is
I know.
so cool.
Yeah, it's coming together because when I'm done with emotion and body code, I know I'm going to be taught shamanism, and I know it's going to help with body code and emotion code very strongly with me. So thank you. The snail was next. They came like, I didn't think about it until you guys, till you started talking, and I was actually also watching Cynthia, because Cynthia's getting her stuff. She's getting her own information too. The second one was a snail, because I think this whole thing is like one message for me.
Yeah.
The second was a snail, and it was next to the water. And I've got fountains in here. I need so many things to help settle my energies. I mean, I need it all to balance. So the snail was next to the water. Snail wasn't doing anything though. It was just, I mean, I just seen it shell. Calm waters. And then quickly the dinosaur. And I've seen the dinosaur with another client or another emotion body code practitioner. And it was the same shape as Barb's. And I think it's one of the smooth, I shouldn't say it like this, but it's kind of funny because my whole stuff is always enchanting. It looks like Dino the dinosaur. So it's not scaly, or you know what I mean? It's the sleek, smooth, round-headed dinosaur, and I could see it from a distance, and it wasn't doing anything. I was just shown that. And I felt it meant I'm old. I know that. I'm an old soul. And then the red dragon, of course, he works with me a lot, but I saw him very quickly and he said nothing. He was just smiling. And then the lion. And I know that I don't know the difference between your spirit animal and your power animal, but I know that one of those is the lion for me. And I've looked for the lion and I've never seen the lion. And the lion appeared and he walked past me, strutting and looking at me like, you're not there yet. I could see what he was thinking. You're not there yet. He just keeps walking. And then he stopped and kind of looked at me. And that was it. So you guys tell me what you think besides that, because there is probably a lot more than what.
Yeah, quite a lot going on there, isn't there? I mean,
and I don't want to dominate this because I want you guys to tell me.
No. Well, I mean, I'll open it to discussion, but very quick interpretation of all of that is very much needing you to come back into your power. Remember who you are. So linking back to your heartbeat, and just remembering who you are, your true self, and what your sole purpose on this planet is here for at this time. And it really embody that. And when we do that and ground it into this earth and this time and this place, it brings us into our power. And then we are able to be seen and heard. And the message that we have, it will be going out to humanity. So I feel that that's the ultimate message from all of that stuff that you've had. And working with time and space is, you know, the shell of the snail is very much, you know, working with dimensions, quantum physics, Reiki, healing energy, that kind of stuff. And you know, the fact that you described the dinosaur as being really smooth and this flow going, water flow, you know, being in flow, is kind of how I would see it. And for me, dragons are all some of the light workers on a certain frequency are really working with dragons. There's a lot of dragons
I
coming in
have
at
a
the moment.
lot of dragons that come in.
They're
to my box.
amazing.
I
So
can smell them downloading. But
so it's all about changing that vibration. And for me, my sole purpose is grounding that vibration. So it's coming to this earth plane. These dragons are coming to this earth plane through other dimensions, or I don't understand. Maybe, but all I know is I need to ground this vibration and embody it to that person, ground it. And that you've got all these red colors, earth colors. Africa is earth for me. So lions, earth, 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 ground, ground, ground is my
I'm
message.
gonna have Cynthia, don't forget about this, okay? I'll have you work with me outside of class and outside of this on that, because I can't wrap my head around that. I mean, all the animals, that stuff all comes to me, and I can actually bring people their dragons, sit across from them, and then they will smell them, and I can see them and smell them. And the dragons have always been, before I even knew what they were, I thought it was the guy blowing cigar smoke up my nose, because my living room will billow and my visitors will smell that and be like, what is that? And I'm like, never mind. And it'll be dragons.
It's fabulous. I love it.
Fire and golden. And I'll see white, but I also have a gateway. I had a galactic gateway in my room where things were coming through, and dragons were keeping that, but I don't think that's there anymore. Anyway, I don't want to monopolize this.
Yeah.
Jeff, did you see anything?
Yeah, initially I saw a wolf. I want to call it a gray wolf, but it was more mottled, but it appeared, I guess at a distance would like be gray, but it had a lot of different colors in it. And then right after that, I saw an elephant. It was kind of standing off to the side, and then he disappeared. And the wolf was very friendly, it was very playful. It was kind of, how dogs, they get down in a stance, and with their back up. It was kind of doing that for a while. And then I think there was at least one other wolf in the background, very similar to that wolf in coloring. There may have been more, but I couldn't tell. And it was very friendly. It actually came up, and as I was imagining it, it almost like it came up like it wanted to lick my face. And then the elephant actually reappeared a couple times and then disappeared a couple times, but it was always off to the side. And one time the elephant raised up its trunk, didn't make any noise or anything. And while Wendy was playing the drum, the wolf actually got up on its hind legs and started dancing around with its front paws up in the air. So, I mean, I didn't know what to make of any of that. The elephant, it was there here, here and there. It came and it went, but it was always off to the side. It was never in the middle, but the wolf was always there. Even the first time when I first saw the elephant, the elephant was off to the side, but the wolf was always there. And again, there was at least one other wolf in the background. There may have been more, I couldn't tell.
That's really, really very deep. And I was watching, I wasn't sure how deep you're going. It's quite hard to judge that when you online. So so I'm really glad that you managed to go that deeply. Yeah, so the wolf is one of my favorites, and you'll see I'm even wearing a top with a wolf on it. So wolf is all about balance, about listening to your intuition, and freedom of your soul. And wolf is also a great teacher. And I always associate wolf as teacher. For me, that's wolf. But I love the fact that he was showing you to chill out and have some fun, bring out your inner child. There's a time to listen, there's a time to be on duty, there's a time to be alone, there's a time to be in the pack, and there's a time to have fun and play. So for me, I think that's what he was kind of showing you, the fact that he was dancing on his hind legs. And that's beautiful. And also showing you vulnerability as well, like showing your underbelly is showing a lot of vulnerability. That for me is wolf. And I feel that's really one of your that's one of your main like totems or power animals that feels very strong for me for you. I think wolf will guide you a lot. And I'm just looking for elephant for you quickly. Now, for me, elephant is all about the earth again. I've been lucky enough to give African elephants some reflexology, so I've been very up close and personal with them. So I don't know if you're familiar with Terry Pratchett. Have you ever read any Terry Pratchett books? So he talks about these disc worlds, and this world which is held up by elephants. These 4 elephants on each corner, and they're like the elements, the directions, and they're these elephants. And so when elephant appears, for me, it's all about support. So what support do you need in your life? And that links back to the wolf, because you saw another wolf in the distance. Now, wolves work in packs. Sometimes they go off as a lone wolf, but they work in packs. And the elephants come to support you. So what support are you needing in your life right now is what I would want to say to you. And the message on this particular book says, you gain the love and the wisdom that is passed from one generation to the next when elephant appears.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, Jeff?
Yeah.
Kind of hits the nail on the head. That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, what are your interpretations of this? Is just my interpretations, and I'm, just me.
I think you hit it on the head every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially what we talked about soon.
Yeah. Something else that has just come through for, I have to call you admin. I don't know your name.
Kathy.
Jeff.
I know
she's
Jeff
talking about Kathy.
Kath. Okay, Kath. Sorry, it's just come in. Is that you mentioned the silver birch or the birch tree? Did you?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're working with that already, it's all about those new beginnings. It's that tree is the first tree in a forest fire. The birch is the first tree that will grow again. So yeah, lots of new beginnings, I suppose, and the ability to keep beginning no matter how many times you get burnt down.
I know. I just don't, honestly, I don't know who to talk to about it. I just don't know. So that's why, maybe Cynthia later. I have tribes, and then I sort of outgrow them. Does that make sense?
Because you have evolvement. Remember that everybody doesn't evolve at the same rate, and some people can be at the 20th dimension, some people can be at the 100th dimension in the way of their knowledge. So how we see the light, how we perceive the light, and how we bring it forth to others.
Yep, and you're really great at that, Cynthia, and I've thought a lot about it since our class started. I can't understand why I'm not there when there's so many other things I am.
Well, maybe you're not keeping things simple enough, and you're overthinking it and letting that ego run away with it instead of letting it just come naturally as it was meant to come. Because it's not to be difficult.
I know, but when my
so maybe you have a block. Maybe you have a block. Maybe you have a negative core belief. Maybe you have a limiting belief.
And also, I'd like to say, I don't know the background story here, Kath, but what I would like to say is I've been doing what I do for 20 years, and I'm only a fledgling. I'm only just scratching the surface and learning. I have so much to learn still. And I, you know, for me, I just wish I'd started when I was born. I probably did.
Amen.
No, it's just like,
Right,
oh,
right.
why didn't I do this sooner? You know, and there are things that I cannot do. So, and at first, I had felt your frustration because, like, say for example, channeling. You know, sometimes I want to come through my throat, and it feels like I've got a bone stuck here,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
can, you know, scratchy and it's sore, and I can feel they want to come. For me, I'm just not ready for that, and I feel that's okay now. At first, I felt frustrated, and I felt, why can't I do it? And you know, I want to do this, and now I'm just like, it's okay. Like it will come when it wants to or it's ready. And I've asked, I'm happy to be a channel, but for me, I'm not ready for that now. If you can show me another way,
Right.
and can you use me and my talents in my way
See what
that I'm
happened,
comfortable with, and so
right?
they can use.
So see what happened to me, real short, is when I awakened, my gifts were there and I didn't know what to do with them. I can see spirit, I can hear them, I can smell them, and I can feel them. And all this stuff started happening. And guess what? The basics, the foundation, I didn't have it.
Right.
And no one in my family was awake.
Right.
So now, 2 years later, I'm trying to deal with grounding and knowing these trapped emotions. I really believe that the reason I feel like I'm getting out of sorts. I know we have lessons and we go through phases, but right now is super important. And I think it's because there's a bunch of trap stuff in there.
Mhm.
And this little path is supposed to help, but you know what? It's derailing what I already had.
Right.
And then I'm just like, hey, why can't I have the path like them? Everybody
because
says,
we're all
oh, I
different.
wish I could smell, see, hear, and feel.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm like,
remember, Kathy, we're all different and we're all not going to have that same gift. We all have our own gifts. We're all intuitive in a different way and we're all blessed in a different way. And the more we practice gifts, the more we are shown. But we have to believe and have faith in what the Lord's going to show us.
that's
Go
what
with
I'm
it.
having a
Don't
real hard
question
time
it.
with.
Yeah, don't
I
ever
would like to
question what he's
propose-
showing you.
Well, I'm having to
I'd
go
like
out
to
my-
propose, Kath, a round of drumming. Just you can drum with, put yourself on mute, you can drum with, or you can just allow the rhythm of the drum to wash over you. We'll just do a little while of just drumming, any rhythm you like, whatever, and just allow whatever happens to happen. But I allow this as a healing. Allow it to let go of all that no longer serves you. I feel like that's needed in this next round.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use
Beautiful.
my horsehide drum. It's a very powerful healer.
Beautiful.
And I've also got a rattle with me, an African rattle. It's like a rattlesnake for me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's quite it's a warning to get rid of all of the stuff that we
Yes.
don't need.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm going to drum with it. Okay. So you're welcome to drum with me. If you just put yourself on mute so we don't lose track. And we're just going to have a short round of drumming just to clear the energies, just to clear our limiting self-beliefs, just to heal what needs healing and allow what needs allowing. As you coming back to this space, this time, and this place, just drop into your heart. And just reconnect to your heartbeat. Reconnect to who you are. And just know that you can just put your hand on your heart at any time. Feel that security. Just having that knowledge of who you are. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you. How was that for you?
That was beautiful. It made me have chest pain, but that's normal. There was a lot of grief and a lot of heartache in there.
Okay.
So that I could feel that, like it's
Yeah, this drum was birthed with the purpose of healing. So every time it plays, healing occurs.
that's beautiful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing that with us.
That's okay. That's okay.
Appreciate it so much. Did anybody else feel anything they want to share with before we close? Or any questions for Wendy?
Yeah, Wendy, I had a question for you.
Um,
In musical drums, you need to tune them. Like each drum, like let's say a rock band, each drum is tuned to a different note. Is tuning important for these drums or not really?
So on an African drum, there's either sinew or string around the base of the drum.
Right.
And snare drums would be the same.
Right.
And you would tighten the rope around it, which would tighten the drum head, and that will give you a different tone and bass. With shamanic drums, when you birth them and you make them, you lace this using the hide, you cut it into a lace, and you need to pull it really, really tight as you're birthing it. Now with this, once it's made, and this is the tone you'll get.
Okay.
How you would look after this type of drum would be very gently. They are very temperamental, like babies. They are made with skin, and so if they get wet, they won't play, and they will get damaged. If they get too hot or near a fire, they can get damaged. So, and that will affect their tone, and then the string will get the lacing will get either brittle and snap, and then you'd have to rebirth your drum, or otherwise it gets very, very slack, and then it sounds dead. It will just go like that.
Okay.
So if that makes sense to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want higher pitched ones? Well, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I think I got a block in my root chakra or something, because I felt it come there, and then it just was like.
Well, I can see your inner child is really having trouble inside.
Yeah.
I can see
That's
that.
okay. Well, you can work on that.
Yep.
The healing will just continue as you
Yes.
need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
In terms of the pitch, I think each drum is burst and it has its own energy. So
okay.
That's what I love about it. So, I mean, you go into like a shop, you can't really buy these things online, in my opinion. because you need to hear them. Because I've got like 3 stag hide drums, and they all sound totally different. And they
Okay.
all have different energy. And when I'm making it, we call it birthing, because the process, you've got a piece of hide, and it's all wet because so you can work with it. And then when you do the final like knot, and you pull
Mhm.
it through, if you pull too hard, the whole thing breaks.
Mm.
If you don't pull hard enough, it doesn't come out. And then as you pull, it's like it's like birthing, because it just suddenly goes whoosh, and it goes whoosh through, and suddenly your drum is birthed, and you cut the cord
Oh,
of this lace.
beautiful. That's
And
beautiful.
over time, like the umbilical cord, it kind of just shrinks down into the whole fabric of the drum. So hence it's called birthing, drum birthing.
That is
Um,
beautiful.
it's a beautiful
yeah.
experience. Beautiful. I'd
That
recommend it to
is.
anybody. It stays with you. And of course, your intention when you're making it, as I say, when I birthed the stag drum, it was all about finding my rhythm, finding my voice, finding, coming back to home to myself.
Mhm.
Um, and when I birthed the horse hide, it was really all about healing, and using it for healing, and it's and journeying. So the shaman believed that the horse is the drum is the shaman's horse. It helps us to get through the dimensions, going from
Okay.
this space into altered dimensions, and hence we journey. It alters our state of consciousness.
That
So
makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Yes, it does. I could feel that. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Wendy,
That's
for
okay. We can
gracing
talk
us with your beautiful
forever.
knowledge. Your knowledge just surrounds me. It just blows my mind,
Right.
some of the things you do.
Thank you. As I say, I'm
Is
still
it
learning.
easy- is it easy to find you online?
I think more so now because of lockdown, that like for me it's stuck all over, and I don't know whether it's just the vibration I'm in, or I don't know, but
We can all start our own too.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Come with whatever. Come with your knees, and just be on your knees.
I'm getting one of those. I'm getting one of those African ones because
Absolutely. Oh. Ooh.
yeah. In fact, I was looking at one. I'm gonna have it in the next week or so.
Go for it. Go for it is all I'd say. Any drum will do.
Yes.
I mean, I'm always, when I'm cooking, I've got on the side, I'm cooking, or
I didn't even think of that as because we do that naturally. It's just automatic.
yeah, and it brings energy to the food. I sing my food back to life again. It's been on the
Amen.
shelf. It's
Mm-hmm.
been through so many hands.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just cleansing it, blessing it, and bringing it back to life by singing to it through beats.
Right.
Uh,
Right. Reversing the energy and putting positive energy in. Amen. Amen.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. Well, why don't we
They keep
bow our
coming.
heads? Yes, they do, don't they? Why don't we bow our heads and give thanks if we could, please? In the name of the Father. Holy Father, we are so grateful and so thankful for Wendy to come and be with us today and show us our spirit animals and show us how beautiful this drum energy vitally works for our health and our well-being. We want to grace everyone here today and those that will watch. And we just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
And we love you. Bless you. Amen. Amen.
Lovely, lovely.